All right, we're switching lanes to track and field now on the SportsMax zone. Jamaica's Kishane Thompson and St. Lucia's Julien Alfred will lead a strong Caribbean contingent of 20 athletes at the 2025 Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon on Saturday. Alfred, the reigning Olympic 100-meter champion, headlines a stacked field including USA's world champion Sha'Carri Richardson and world leader Melissa Jefferson Wooten. Newly crowned Jamaican national champion Tina Clayton, along with Ivory Coast Marie-Josée Telou Smith. Meanwhile, Thompson, fresh off his world-leading 9.75 seconds national title, winning performance is part of the men's 100-meter lineup. That includes compatriot Akeem Blake, USA's Christian Coleman, Trayvon Bromell, and Great Britain's Zonelle Hughes. 3 Caribbean women will take part in an invitational 100-meter race that Jamaica's Alana Reid, Brianna Williams, and Trinidad and Tobago's Leah Bertrand. In the men's 200 meters, two-time national champion in the land of wood and water, Brian Lavelle and TNT's Jareem Richards will take on Olympic champion Letsile Tebogo and world leader Kenny Bednarek. Other big names include Grenada's 2012 Olympic champion Kirani James in the men's 400, with Dejanay Oakley in the women's equivalent, while her countrymates Asine Wilson and Malik James King are set to compete in the men's 400 hurdles, and world champion Danielle Williams, along with Akira Nugent, line up in the women's sprint hurdles. In the field events, Olympic champion and record holder Roger Stoner and Ralford Mullings will compete in the men's discus, with Rajendra Campbell in the shot put and Akelia Smith in the women's long jump. The women's 800 meters, now renamed the Motola 800 meters in honor of Maria Motola, will feature St. Vincent and the Grenadines' Shafiqua Maloney, who was 4th in Paris. Well, now we're joined by SportsMax.tv Chief Editor Leighton Levy. Welcome to the show, Leighton. How are you doing?
Hi, Mariah. How are you doing? I'm good. I'm good. Long day, but it's almost coming to an end.
Always working, working. Well, last one for today. We're going to talk about the Prefontaine Classic this weekend. And Leighton, can we start by talking about the man who everybody's been talking about, Kishane Thompson, and the field that he'll be up against?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The field that he's been up against is probably a true test of where he's at. I mean, 9.75 is the fastest time in the world since, I think, 2017. So he's going to have to back that up in a race against informed Trayvon Bromell, who's back from his latest injury bout, with a 984 this season. And, of course, Akeem Blake and, of course, Christian Coleman. I think this is going to be a field that tests him. Why? Because he's, to his own admission, he's still working out his race. He still hasn't mastered the different phases yet. So it's a matter of consistency. So 975 at the National Stadium last weekend, he's going to do it against a field with a very good starter in Trayvon Bromell. If Bromell gets up before him, will he have the composure to hold and go through, have the patience to go through different phases, and eventually, he would assume, take the lead and win? So this is going to be a true test for Kishane. Of course, there's Zonelle Hughes as well. It's a very good field, and of course, Akeem Blake, I think, will have an opportunity to see if he can lower his personal best from 988 that he ran at the National Championships last weekend to perhaps go a little bit faster, because obviously the plan for him now would be to see if he can drop his times into or closer to 9.7s by the time Tokyo rolls around in September. So this is one of the events that I'm looking forward to seeing tomorrow for many reasons, because there are many storylines and many layers to this event on Saturday. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how it pans out. Will Kishane go ahead and run a faster time? Because there's a perception that the track in Eugene is faster than probably most. And of course, we've seen Americans run fast on this track all the time. So will Kishane be able to overcome the Americans' confidence racing at home, and then, of course, pull off another outstanding performance before he leaves for Europe?
Couple points. You just mentioned something just now in terms of the Prefontaine Classic producing faster times, and the track is usually considered to be faster than other tracks, especially this side of the world. Do you think that is something that he would like to pounce upon Kishane Thompson? Or do you think Stephen Francis at times he holds a lot of cards to his chest that he may just be doing something else that we're unaware of that wouldn't necessarily concentrate on him doing a fast time?
Well, okay, so there are two sides to that, Donald. If you remember, well, not remember, just in the pre-meet press conference, he said he would not be averse to challenging the meet record. I'm not quite sure what the meet record is, but it's something that obviously is on his mind since he was asked about it. But Stephen Francis sometimes has different plans for his athletes in terms of their progress towards the event that really matters that comes up in about 2 months' time. So it's kind of up in the air about what will happen in terms of his going on to challenge the meet record. But if Kishane Thompson runs like Kishane Thompson can run, it is not out of the realm of possibility that the meet record could go. Whether or not it's his objective is another matter, because I think maybe Stephen Francis might want to see different things from the different phases. So I think it's going to come down to execution. I don't think it's a primary concern, though. But if it happens, I think probably if it happens, it happens. That's how I see it, because you're not quite sure what the thinking is behind the scenes. You know, Kishane can say one thing at the press conference yesterday, but whether or not that's the plan going forward is completely another matter.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that one unfolds tomorrow. Now, on the women's side, Leighton, Julien Alfred, St. Lucia's Julien Alfred lines up against a tough field, and in that there's also Jamaica's Tina Clayton.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Melissa Jefferson is also there. She's the fastest in the world this year at 10:73. Of course, we saw Julien run 10:75 just about 3 weeks ago now. And of course, Tina Clayton. It's a fast field, a potentially fast field. I'm curious to see whether or not Coach Florial has begun to probably wind Julien down to build her back up towards Tokyo. And whether or not I saw some video of her coming on some block starts today, but she still looks pretty quick. The big question, I think, for many people would be whether or not Shakira Richardson will offer a better performance than the last one we saw, where she looked absolutely horrible. And I think she finished sixth in 11:44 or something like that. Word is that she was injured in the early part of the season, so she's probably still playing catch up. Now remember this, she's a defending champion, so she doesn't have to run all the runs at the US trial. She can probably just get a couple of races in. But certainly it's a matchup that I think many people want to see, a rematch of the Paris Olympics last year, when of course Julien Alfred won to become the first St. Lucian woman to win an Olympic gold medal, and of course Melissa Jefferson finishing second and Shakira Richardson third. I think, based on what we've seen so far and the fact that Shakira hasn't raced much this season, I think this will be her second race, I think. I think someone like Tina Clayton has an opportunity then to test herself against some of the best in the world at this event. And of course, the reality is that based on what we saw the 1081 last week, she's still in some kind of taper. So I think we'll probably see a similar time from her. So it's going to be a very fast race, I think. But my money is still on Julien Alfred, and I think if she runs like she ran the last meet, she's probably going to run faster than 10:75, which will be scary because we're still 2 months away from Tokyo.
Yeah, what have you seen of Ivory Coast Marie-Josée Tellus-Smith this season, and how will she line up against the competition?
She hasn't done anything that tells me that she's going to be a factor in this race. She hasn't broken 11 seconds all year. She's still 2 months out from the World Championships. And so if the trend is what we've been seeing from her so far this season, I don't think we're going to see anything special from her tomorrow. I could be wrong, but that's just my impression. I've seen a few of her races this season, and just about 2 weeks ago now, she was second to Brianna Williams in 100 meters. She ran 11:20. So, you know, if we are to go off her times that we've seen so far this season, I don't see her factoring much in this race tomorrow at all.
The men's 200 meters looking to be a really hot one. We have the likes of Lavelle, Richards out of Trinidad and Tobago, Bednarek, the American, and Tobago, the Olympic champion. I mean, that could be anybody's race.
Yeah, the thing is this. Kevin Bednarek, we know, is in good shape. He's run 19:7, I think it was, in the last Grand Slam track meet. He's been really running really, really well. What we do know about Leslie Tobogo is that he is building towards Tokyo. So we're not quite sure how fast he'll run tomorrow. Van Level, I think, is an opportunity to test himself against perhaps the best, two of the best 200-meter runners in the world. We seen him run 19.79 wind dated just a few weeks ago, June 7th, in fact, so a month now. And of course, he said he didn't need to run fast to win the national championship. And he was absolutely right, because if you watch that race, you would see he literally bounced the last 80 meters to win in 20.1. He will be pushed, he will be tested tomorrow. And so I don't know what instruction Shanique Osborne would have given him about this meet, but perhaps he'd probably like to test himself against the best in the world to see where he's at, then give them an idea of what they need to work on going into Tokyo. So they'll have 2 months. So he'd probably push it tomorrow and probably run another fast time. Whether or not it'll be good enough to beat Tobogo or Bednarek is up to, it's going to be, you have to wait to see what that unfolds. But the reality is that this is an opportunity for him to test himself. And of course, I think Tobogo and Bednarek, I think, are probably the guys to beat. I think Fanbula is in that race as well. It's going to be a very, very keen race. And I think it'll be a good experience for Lebel to race against these guys, because these are the very guys he's going to face in Tokyo in 2 months' time. So he'll get a chance to test himself, to feel their speed, and to have an understanding of what he's up against when he goes to Tokyo. So I think this is going to be a good learning opportunity for him as it relates to who's possibly going to win this race. I think on form, I don't think Kenny Bednarek should be worried too much, because he's obviously the fastest in the world so far this year over the distance. But I wouldn't rule out Tobogo pulling something special tomorrow, because that's what he is. He's a special athlete. And I think you'll see more of that probably tomorrow.
All right, Leighton. Well, we have a lot to look forward to. Get some rest, because I know you'll be up writing those articles for the website. So we'll talk soon.
You're done, and there are so many more events that are going on tomorrow. That Kira Nugent in the 100-meter hurdles, that's going to be off the chain. That's some of the best athletes in the world. Masai Russell, who is the only person who isn't there, I think, is Megan Topper. It's going to be something that people should look out for tomorrow. It's going to be a fantastic meet, I think.
All right, Leighton. Next time we'll take a longer segment for you. Bye. Enjoy your evening.
Bye-bye, guys.
Leighton Levy there, of course, filling us up to date with what's happening in the track and field world.